episode 2 of the Offsides Elite Hockey Podcast.
Good to be back.
Great to be back. I am Coach Rich, again joined by Peter Alden and Brody True. We're going to get right into it. For our Dump and Chase section, we're talking Zegras versus Torts.
Yeah, hot topic right now.
Old school versus new school. Basics and fundamentals versus creativity. Where do we stand on this, gentlemen? Pete, let's start with you.
It's great to have Brody in here too, get his perspective. But I think
first the viewers should know what happened if they don't know.
Okay.
The viewers should know.
Okay. Let's break it down.
So basically, Zegras gets the puck behind the net. Everyone thinks he's going to do the new move. It's a flashy move. Basically, you grab the puck and you basically lacrosse it at the top corner of the net. But instead, he picks it up and flips it up to his teammate. Who's his teammate?
Sonny Milano. And he bats in the net, scoring a huge goal. And it was a flashy goal, and Tortorella apparently did not like it. Both American players, by the way.
Both American players, both from the development camp, actually.
Yeah, I love the creativity. I think it's great. I mean, even the Michigan, I think it's awesome for the game. And obviously what they're able to execute is outstanding. And then I see where Tortorella's coming in and, more of the old school mentality. And I think, there's a lot of arguments of the give and takes on everything. And the skill coaches will be enamored by, we've got to practice this. This is good for the game. It's great creativity. The guys about fundamentals and basics, they're the ones that are going to be arguing this. I mean, you look at the college level, I don't see, any coach really agreeing with this. It's more the players that want it to kind of freshen things up.
Yeah, no, it's important for the players to see creative plays, see players finding success with creative plays, and then build on it. The game won't change if it's just basics all the time. We have to allow room for the game to evolve. I think it's important to be creative. I think it's important for coaches to encourage creativity. I will call BS on Torts. I will call BS because I was there in 2004. I don't know if you guys remember the 2004 Tampa Bay Lightning with Torts behind the bench.
Yeah.
They won the Stanley Cup. You know what his motto was that year? Safe is death. Safe is death. If you want to be the guy who's saying basics, but also the guy saying take chances because safe is death, you can't have it both ways.
No, the basics are boring, but they work.
Yeah.
That's where I don't necessarily agree with everything Torts is saying, but I do like the fact of, you've got to be outstanding at the fundamentals. You do need to have your staples in the game, things that you're really, really good at. And the part of me that I think I'm struggling with is all of a sudden this move happened, and you're looking at TikTok and Instagram. Everybody's looking at the highlights. You see kids that are 10 years old now trying to pull this move off, college guys, etc. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. We're sure it enamored us, but it may never ever work again. And the fact that we have these kids getting away from, I think, the fundamentals and the basics, things that work, and then now spending their time on valuable ice time trying to pull this off, I don't know if it sends the right message, but I do know that I think kids are kind of wasting their time on it too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When Michigan happened for the first time, it was probably the 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. Forget what was the guy's name. Oh man, that guy. But he didn't make it to the show, and everyone said, this will never happen in the NHL. That move will never be.
It was tried so many times.
Yeah. It's happened multiple times in the NHL.
Kids are obsessed with it.
People are obsessed with it. But I think that...
And now we got the Zegras. So.
I think that's okay. I think that it should be a beautiful game. And it's not a beautiful game if you just do basics. I think that hockey has a potential to grow and...
It's evolving.
Yeah. It is. It's evolving. And the basics are going to grow. Who knows? That might be something that's taught 20 years from now as one of the basics. Who knows? Backhand toe drags. That wasn't even a thing.
No.
How many years ago?
Yeah.
Now everyone's teaching it. It's part of the fundamentals now. So I'm willing to say I'm on board with yes, basics are important. However, let the kids have fun. Yeah. That it should be fun.
That's what it's all about with having fun. You don't want to be so much in a structure where you're scared to try new things and get out of that comfort box.
Yeah, and don't be such a Debbie Downer, John Tortorella. Please and thank you.
But again, maybe I'm a little bit of downer on this, but if we want to kind of, as we're going into our episode too, it just kids want to be able to play more. They want to be able to establish themselves, find roles, etc. I don't, for a guy that's maybe struggling on the third, fourth line, I don't. I mean, sure they'll make the highlight reel, but I don't know if that's going to really help you establish your game.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's where the argument comes in on what are we spending our time on to get better.
Oh yeah. And that segues well into our main topic today, which is ice time. We're talking about how do you earn ice time. And for a third or fourth line player, your time's probably not very well spent practicing a Zegras move or the Michigan during practice. Maybe at home, if you want to let your game try to evolve there, yeah, put it in. But that during practice, probably not. So let's talk about ice time and how to get more of it. Because that's, every parent, every player wants to be on the ice more or have their kid on the ice more. So how do we do it? And, we talked about this earlier. Ice time is one word. Ice time is earned.
Right.
And there's ways to earn your ice time. So number one is knowing your role and embracing it. I know, Pete, you're huge on understanding your role on a team for players and then leaning into it. So you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts at the top. I mean, you start with your expectations of your team, your standard, your gold standard. The best is the way, and playing the right way, and then getting the buy-in from your players, I think, is big. So they understand that there's a trust factor, and not saying it's my way or the highway, but just making sure that there's a clear understanding of of how we're going to establish our game, and then how you're going to be able to play within that structure with the creativity. And then I also think that players need to understand where to spend their time on that too, which I again once you get into this, I think they start to get away from, because I think they start to lose their confidence, and it starts to, I think, they're hurt their ability to bring value to the team too.
Yeah, I think communication is a big part of this, right? Yeah. Coaches expect a certain thing from players, and they expect different things from different players. And communicating that expectation to each player individually is important. And as a player, Brody, can you talk about a time where you were expected to do something by a coach and you didn't want to do it?
I've definitely had my fair share of going ups and downs on any team really you've ever been on, starting from mites all the way up. Definitely the role factors didn't really play a role until you're getting to your higher levels, but even as a peewee, you know who your top guys are, and that they're your scorers, and they're supposed to score every night. And having, younger kids looking up to you, it's hard sometimes. And as an 18-year-old, having roles on a team is super important, and having leaders, and just, sticking with it is all I have to say. Is, if you're on the fourth line, you're grinding, you're trying everything. If it's not working, just stick to what you know best. If you're a fast guy, if you're a big guy, if you're tall, you're small, you have a role in the team. And if you don't know your role, ask your coach. Ask for help.
That's a great point.
It just not asking questions and not trying to develop yourself into a better player is, I think, where a lot of players struggle.
Absolutely. Understanding your game, and then when you get benched, when you lose that ice time, ask why. And the coach is going to tell you.
It's all timely though. I mean, I think there too. I mean, asking the why when you're, it's a 2-1 game or 1-1 game, and emotions, the heat is on the line. I think there's a time and place for that too. And not to go backwards a little bit. I definitely, from the coaching perspective, I definitely think that getting your guys on the ice is extremely important, and getting everybody involved right away, and line changes, the lengths of shifts, just getting guys to buy into the shift changes, and making sure that your best players and or your bottom guys aren't getting cold. And it's immediately setting the tone, getting engaged right away. You hear coaches anywhere from 35 to 45-second shifts. Tips for that too. I think if you got an extra hand, or an assistant coach, or an extra goalie, to time the shifts, and see where that leads, and see the discipline that guys, start to build in their game. So everybody wants to play. We totally get it. They want the ice time. And again, I think it starts at the top. Your coach sets the standard of, this is the way we're going to play. our buy-in, and then our shift changes need to be quick so we can beat our teams and have fresh legs too.
Oh yeah, and for the record, like coaches pick players because they want to play them, right? We have guys on the bench because we want them to be on the ice and being successful, right? It's when those players either step out of the roles that we want them to play or aren't working hard, which is, by the way, number 2, right? Know your role and work hard, right? So if you're not doing your job and you're not working hard at doing your job, you're not going to get as much ice time. I feel like that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I to build off that too, I think players need to redefine what they think a great shift is. Like just last weekend, we're doing the 18U team was playing, and I acknowledge one of the players in the locker room. It was not on the score sheet, but defensively he was great. He allowed me to play a 2-3, which is very aggressive, gets a lot of 5-man unit involved, and he was excellent in the whole rotation. It allowed our D to go down the wall or drive through the funnel in the middle of the ice, and we were able to establish our forecheck. But it was only because a guy was able to get into position to allow the defenseman to jump into play. And I gave credit to the kid in the locker room between the second and third, and there was an ice make. And I said, like, you got to look at like the little things that you're doing that are big things that are allowing you to get more ice time and more trust between your staff, and players, so that you feel more confident. It's not necessarily the goal or the highlight play all the time. It's the little things that translate to big things. Is the way I look at it.
I'll tell you what, being the role player who is the goal scorer, if your role is to score goals, anything that's like measurable like that and shows up on every score sheet, that's the hardest role on the team.
Yeah. You have to show up every single game.
Oh my gosh. Game. I'd rather be the fourth liner. The guy, I just have to go out there and work hard, bang bodies, win battles.
Yeah, I agree. I remember one very small, quick story. I was playing at Quinnipiac. It was my junior year. I was kind of struggling a little bit. Same thing. I was on the fourth line, and literally I was playing the left side, and the D, literally had the puck at the point, a little high in the defensive zone, and I just got in the lane, and I just blocked the shot, and my whole bench erupted. I remember coming back, and my coach couldn't. It was like I scored in the Stanley Cup final. He was so pumped for me, but that was such like a big moment in the game that I was able to establish the defensive zone, pucks out of the zone, and trust me, I got the hell off the ice too.
Yeah. You earned your ice time. You said, I've had enough.
But you help your team in other ways, and that's why I say, I think people, our parents are really kind of struggling to find a way, advice, video, blah blah blah. Like how do I get my kid to understand or get more ice time? I think it's just really evaluating. The fundamentals and get back to the basics, the things that you're really good at that help build confidence and establish your forecheck, your defensive zone for your team, that then, like you said, Rich, that then maybe translate into, the game-winning goal or the big defensive play to where, I think the team wins.
Yeah. I'm going to bring up an NHLer as an example later, but I'm going to remember everything you just said. Okay. Cool. So next point is consistency.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Consistency is a big one. Because you get guys who have great shifts, and then 2 shifts later, they're in the dumps about something, and just their game falls apart.
Yeah,
those guys cannot be counted on, and they gotta ride the pine.
And being consistent as a player is very hard.
Oh,
very hard.
Very.
You're a fourth line grinder. You make your way up third, second, even first line. You get up there. Once you're up there, you think you're the. Are we allowed to swear on here?
No.
You think you're the you think you're the poop, and you start playing. You start not caring as much because you think that you can score all these goals. You can make mistakes. You can turn the puck over, and you're back on the fourth line without even a blink. Because you're not being consistent. You're not playing the way your coach wants you to play.
Yeah.
The reason why your coach put you up there was to play a certain style, certain way. Once you get away from that, you're back on the fourth line before you know it.
Yeah, I mean, if you play in a competitive team, and like I said, your coach establishes things from the middle and from the start, is just, we're going to compete every day, we're going to get better every day, and then your players buy into that. Trust me, like if you're a guy who goes from the fourth line, third line to all of a sudden the first line, one, I think your team recognizes that, so they like that. They like that there's growth. The coach isn't set in stone, and then immediately, like all the guys you thought that were your friends. They're not trying to steal your spot, which is also, I think, really hard for a player, understand, especially amongst their peers, that, whoa, I thought we were buddies. Like, no, man, like, I want your spot. You're on the first line, so I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that, too.
Oh, yeah. Upward mobility. There we go. You see it here, and you see it in work life after.
And being competitive like that is super important for as a team aspect too, because you're pushing each other every single day.
Oh yeah.
Practice with games, you're always trying to get better. You're always trying to push yourself and your teammates.
So I think like part of it too is like, so you have confidence, you're consistent, like you're riding the high, and then all of a sudden you've got you gradually just fall down the ladder. Now you're in the lows. How do you, like you said it, like you have a bad shift, you get kids that are emotional, or how is a coach going to be able to trust you when the kid is down the dumps and is no bad body language, you can see it in his eyes. How do kids bounce back from that? I think that's a big thing.
Hey, and that's the fourth point. Wouldn't you know it? Steady temperament is number 4. You got to have a steady temperament. You got to be at the same level, whether you're on the first line or the fourth line, whether you're in your own zone the whole time or in the offensive zone. It doesn't matter. It can't affect you. If you want ice time, you got to be here. If you get too high, you're going to fall. You get too low, you're never going to get back up.
Yeah.
So steady temperament is huge.
And I think that comes with a lot of hockey superstitions as well, as you see with NHL guys doing the same exact thing every single day. So if they're performing at the same level as the last game, and you see like people like Sidney Crosby, who's been wearing the same jock for I don't even want to know how many years.
Yeah, me neither.
Like just staying consistent to your game that you know how to play is just, it's important.
It's not a superstition if it works.
Yes.
Then it's just routine.
Yes.
Yeah,
routine.
I think the preparation is big though too. I mean, I was in college. I dealt with a sports psychologist. Like I trained hard every single summer. But then I always found, that there's somebody always better than me. I would go from 30% body fat to 10% body fat, absolutely crush, all the preseason stuff, once we got to school. Strength coach was super pumped to have, I was checking all the boxes. And then I get to the game and your coach is impressed. And same thing, like you're playing consistent minutes and all of a sudden you drop. And that's where, as far as a mindset, I think, like how you prepare is big, and that's every day, and that's before practice, post practice, that's the game, that's your everyday of your school, your routine, your training, your friends. And then I think in the moment, I think there's a lot is visualization. And when you get to it, that falls into preparation, the music that you're listening to. I'm a big believer in trust me, I love music of all different genres. I love hip hop, I love rock, but there's also a time and place where I think you got to kind of shut it down and have some music or something that kind of settles your mind and your waves a little bit.
I have a story for that. So this year, beginning of the year, first game, our new coach Phil Esposito, we're all getting ready, we're all jacked up, we're listening to rap, we're ready to go. Comes in the locker room, clicks the power button on the speaker and it goes silent. He's like, we're going to go out there, no music. And we're all like, oh, this guy's going to be kidding me. We've never done this before. It was our first time. And he's like, you guys got to visualize and get ready for the game. So we're all pissed. We're all pissed and we're all like, we got to put the music back on. We can't do this. And then surely we all put our heads down. We visualize. And let me tell you what, we had a great game that game. We all visualized. We all focused on what we needed to do. And just having the moment of silence and just really focusing on what you have to do is super important. And I give thanks to Phil Esposito for teaching us.
Phil.
There we go. Stick taps to Phil.
The other thing is too is I think the in the moment, and Brody, obviously I mean you deal with hard coaches and hockey's a tough game. And I think how you have really good shifts, your coach is pumped up, the pats on the back are great, and then you have the bad shifts. And they're like, how do I, and then it's another bad shift, and it's another bad shift, and you're like, oh my God, how do I rebound? I was taught, in little things of, as you were saying, music or sounds, close your eyes, give it 10 seconds, think about your favorite song, rip the lyrics, through your mind, bring yourself back. The other piece, was a little thing too, as a tip, is, I have basically a rubber band on my wrist. Anytime you're having a bad moment, bad shift, take a second. I know maybe slip your glove and just snap back. Snapping back is it's what you want to do. How am I going to rebound? But also kind of gives you a little bit of a shock to kind of shake it off, reset, and get back into it and win your next shift.
Yep. In sports psychology, it's called grounding.
Love it.
Yeah.
I have that
How you ground
the
yourself.
exact bracelet. So I have this.
Oh.
What are these called?
Live Strong bracelets?
Live Strong bracelets. It's like you have your high point in Mount Everest, and then whatever the dirt.
Oh.
The dirt.
That's not a Live Strong bracelet.
Whatever. But anyway, this bracelet's about balance. And when you're having a bad shift, to level yourself, I always look back at this bracelet and I'm like, okay, we gotta settle down. Like, it's just a moment. You gotta live in the moment and just forget about it.
Yeah.
And just having that balance and having that ability to just get out of that bad situation and put yourself back in a good one is just.
I'm struggling with communicating that to my squirts.
Get them all bracelets.
Oh, I might.
Yeah, bracelets that were going to be popping up everywhere.
Oh, we're trendsetters. What can I say? All right, so let's talk about examples of this. All right, I'm going to use an NHL example. You talked about playing well in the defensive zone and earning your spot and earning your way up and doing the right thing all over the ice. I'm going to toot the Tampa Bay Lightning horn again. Anthony Cirelli is that guy. Anthony Cirelli is not the most talented player on the ice. I don't think he ever will be. But he works his tush off.
Yeah.
And he does the right thing. He wins the faceoffs. He blocks shots. He works hard in the D zone. He earns his ice on penalty kills and power plays. And the guy, you can't say no to him. You can't take him off the ice because he's never not doing the right thing. And it has nothing to do with how good he is as a hockey player. It's all, intensity level in his head.
Sure.
And the willingness to do the hard thing, the willingness to do the right thing. So it's that's my NHL example.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you another NHL example. It wasn't me because I never played in the NHL, but I think players also, when they're establishing their role, like a guy like Kevin Rooney. I coached Kevin when he was younger in midget. Plays for New York Rangers right now. He's great on PK, draws penalties. Gives a chance. The team to win by getting back on special teams. Knows his role. And I think role is really big, and then kind of embracing what maybe your coaching staff is looking for. And my good buddy Matt Anderson, I'll throw a plug to him, is a UMass guy from Long Island. Just really kind of sorry Matt, but just really kind of average at a lot of different things. Good centerman, wins draws. Pretty good skater, not an excellent skater. I mean, battling in the minors, for forever. In Albany and Chicago. And all he wanted to do was play for. He was in Albany's. He was in the Devils farm team up in Albany, and all he wanted to do was play at the next level. Pete DeBoer is the coach, and Matt just did not want to play the way Pete DeBoer wanted him to play. And I think another thing too is like players need to kind of buy into what the coaching staff is willing to work with you on. Allowing you to make mistakes, but then also buying in what they're teaching you. So Pete DeBoer was very defensive at the time. It's finish your checks. It's get pucks long. You glassing out. Matty's like, I want the puck all the time. And it's like Pete's like, I'm sorry, but this is the way we play. So if you want to play for the big club, this is what you need to do. So it wasn't until Matt bought into that. And sure enough, like I remember going to his game against the Bruins. He was on the line with Kovalchuk when he was in the league still. And I think players need to kind of buy into that as well too. Like if I'm sorry, you sign up to play for a program or a coach, like you got to be listening to what he's saying and how he wants to establish the game and how he wants to help you. Because if you're not listening, he can't help you, and certainly I think you need to help yourself embrace that role too to get in with the big club.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to earn your spot. You got to
Earn your spot.
You got to buy in.
Yeah.
And buy-in's a big word.
It's huge.
Two big words.
Yeah.
Some means different things to different people, but in this sense, yes, you have to buy into the role that your coach wants you to play. And if you're in your mind, you think that you're capable of being that goal scorer, but coach wants you on the fourth line, grinding, banging bodies, do it, and then earn your spot as a goal scorer. Do that and score goals.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, defense is where that the offense comes from. You don't actually get the puck until you play defense.
I think a lot of these guys, it comes back to like leadership, and you're within a team, and I think kids need to establish who the leaders are on the team. And I'll give you a quick story. I was at UMass. I was really like struggling to get in the lineup. Like I played like 3 games, for the first 2 months, battling. And I remember Bill Gilligan, he was an assistant coach, and was really a player's coach, but really like, black and white, just told you the truth, exactly what you want to hear. And I asked for a players meeting. I'm like, how do I get more ice time? How do I get in the lineup? And he said to me, Pete, I am sick and tired of having player meetings and talking to you. And I was like, whoa, Bill, thought we got a relationship here. He's like, Pete, I'm telling you what to do is you've got to find the best player on the team and watch his habits. You want to play more? There's something within you right now that's not allowing you. You're not doing the things that get you there, the little things, the big things, whatever. Find the best player on our team right now. Watch how he's sleeping, his habits, his practice habits on the ice, how many times a week he's working out. You're working out twice a week. You're with our strength coach. This guy, and I guarantee is working out 4 times a week. And it may be stretching, it may be agility, but his mindset, his physicality, everything is there. Watch how he eats. Follow the guy. See what he's doing. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, God, I'm in the dining hall just scarfing scrambled eggs and toast and, did butter, and it didn't matter. Because I was figuring I was training every day. And then this guy's got his egg whites, he's got his milk, he's got his tea, and I'm like, so I found a guy who was on the team, and another plug to Matt Anderson as well. He ended up being my best friend at my wedding and everything. But that changed my mindset, and I think that's as a coach now too. I'm like, see what the best players on the ice are doing, or the best players on the other team, what they're doing. Their habits, I bet, are better than yours. Their mentality is better than yours. Their eating habits, who they're hanging out with, their language. These guys want to be pros, and they're pros for a reason. So, you can have your player meetings, and you can only get so much from a coach. Now it's time, if you have a good culture, to start looking from within. And I think that's another piece that kids don't do either, is embracing each other and working with their peer group and finding the best player on the team and watching his habits. And I guarantee you get a little bit better every day if you start following his footsteps too.
Oh yeah, motivated players. Because we've spoken enough today. So, Pete, you want to say anything in closing?
No, happy holidays to everybody, and thanks for listening. Make sure you share, you like, and spread the good news. We're trying to help hockey and coaches and players, to love the game and embrace their role and find a way to get better every day.
Happy holidays, safe travels. Everyone stay safe out there. Don't get sick, and see you next episode.